Is the 2020 budget a draft public to the citizens to see what you're proposing? And where can we find that? And also, have all the department heads been involved in the discussion, or are those decisions made by you all and then you tell them? Just asking because I don't know. I work in the state, for the state, so there's a process for everything and a rule for everything. For the 2019 budget, where would we find all of the awards and the expenditures, and then what has been paid out of there? And can funds be transferred, and why can't they if they haven't been? Is there a rule? Is that your rule? Is there a regulation that says they can or can't? When did we have our last audit? And if we had an audit where there was a finding, what were those findings? And is that audit report available to the citizens since it's our money that they're auditing? And when is someone going to just explain in plain detail why we're in trouble? I hear this account's short and there's a deficit, but why is there a deficit? Why all of a sudden is this coming out? Why did we add staff one year and take them away this year? And then how long do you think these cuts will be in place? Is this a permanent thing? Are you trying to come up with some kind of a thing to fix it, to get these people back on staff? You want me to answer all of those questions?
I would say answer everyone.
The 2020 budget is in draft. It's always in draft until the board passes it. That makes it official.
Right,
Okay.
and where can we find it?
By state law, they have a copy of the budget. They've looked over it. Okay, so tonight they're supposed to vote. By state law, we have to have a budget in place by 12/31. Okay, so we have to pass the budget.
Gotcha.
Is there gonna be a balanced budget?
It has to be a balance unless you have reserves, like if you have in your home. If you spend $100, you bring in $100 and you really need to spend $105, it's okay if you got the extra $5 in your checking account, right? So that $5 would be called reserves, okay? So you can use that. So if you classify it being a budget balance that it has to be 100 to 100, that's not true. It depends on if you have reserves, okay? When you get a copy, if they pass the budget tonight and it becomes official, you can come in and request a budget, and the 2019 budget numbers are in there. The actuals are not, of course, because we're still working in 19.
Correct.
Okay?
But we could get former years, like we could request 2018, 2017.
We can't give you 2017 and 2018 because in the past years, the audits were not done. The audit,
So
the 2017
So we
budget.
can't have a budget that hasn't had an audit done?
That is, there was a budget for 2017.
Right, and
but-
2018.
And 2018, but the audits have not been done, okay? That happened before I got here, okay? So the auditors, I'm working with the auditors right now, they are working on the 2017 budget, okay? And then once that is finished, then we'll work on the 2018 budget.
Right.
Okay, and then they'll do 19 and then.
But we couldn't request a copy of what was proposed and passed in 2017 and proposed and passed in 2018?
Yes. Yes, we could get you copies of that, okay? Last audit that has been officially done was
Right.
2016. At that point in time, the general fund, which pays for administration, police, communications, fire, codes, public works, mechanical maintenance, was 192,000 and some change in the red
Okay.
at that point in time, okay?
And what were you required to do corrective action-wise to fix those things for the 2017 and 2018 budget?
I was not employed by the city at that point in time.
Was anybody up here? Does anybody know, or did you just continue to let the deficit go for 3 years before you're audited again? Because repeat findings are terrible in audits.
So when I came back
Nobody wants that.
and I worked on 2017, the preliminary numbers is that the general fund is $550,000 in the red. Okay, that's why the budget is going to be cut.
Right, so, and how does that happen? Where would, I'm sure you're giving the auditor a breakdown of that. So
Yes.
when the audit is finished, that would be available for the public to see what we've spent?
Yes.
And then what?
And the auditor comes, she presents the budget, so
Right.
it's an open meeting, just like what we have here now,
Okay.
okay? And so that you can ask that person questions, and you can listen on how she steps through it, okay? And then once she presents it to the board and they accept it, then you can also ask for a copy of it, okay? I don't know when the 2017 budget is done. Like I said, we are still working on it,
But
okay?
there's timelines and there should be a deadline for them to finish and you.
Well, yes,
To finish.
it takes, I mean, unfortunately, it takes time to do that report. I mean, you
It
know.
does, but I work with state auditors every day, and there's
Yes.
a 60-day time frame or a 90-day time frame, and in a certain amount of time, they have to close it up. So they find what they find, and then you luck out if they don't get all the way through it. In this case, it sounds like, or you get nailed because they assume that it's just as bad in the beginning as it is in the end, and you get more. So what
that's-
is her timeline?
The ideal timeline is she's hoping to get it done before tax time, because, you know, they have their other business.
Right.
Okay? So we're hoping to get it sometime, hopefully, if everything works well, in January.
Okay.
You're still asking, you know how they come in, they look at your information, and then they ask questions.
Right?
And that's what we're basically doing now. So
Okay.
once 2017 is done, then, we'll start working on 2018.
Okay.
But there'll be a gap there because they'll be working on
Absolutely.
their, you know, their other businesses.
And 2018 is just as dire or worse, in your opinion?
Well, to make things more complicated, in that period of time, we had 2 software conversions. So I am trying to put the information together in a proper way so that the auditors can come in, quickly audit. It's on 19. 19 is basically revenue and expenditure. That's when I came back. I came back in January of 19. They're pretty well neutral. In other words, there's no going to be some large surprise of a larger deficit.
Well, what was the deficit in 2018?
I don't know yet.
So
I can honestly tell you I don't.
you're in
At the
charge
end
of the budget now, and you're in charge of responding to the auditor's questions and answering all of the auditor's questions on 2017 and 2018, but you don't know what the deficit is for 2018.
No, because I am
Wow.
going, well, the problem of it is that when they moved from 17, okay, I had to have the 2017 numbers before I can go to 18 for one thing,
Right.
right? And in the meanwhile, we've had a software conversion, okay?
Okay,
And
so,
so I gotta make sure that everything's posted on the proper line items to the right account, because with you work with the state, you know that there's different funds.
I absolutely do, and I also
Okay.
know that if I was the auditor and have dealt with the state auditor, you know what she would say? That's crappy record keeping.
I won't
That's
argue.
crappy transfer of, I mean, when you come up with a new software system, one of the biggest tests of the new software system is you don't dump your old stuff so your new stuff is working, and you should make sure those are married before you ditch it. So that's gonna be a finding for sure, because that's horrible. That's also ripe for fraud and all kinds of things in the auditor's eyes, because they're gonna be like, we don't even know what the hell they have and how much money they even have in there, and they can't even tell us, and now you're telling us we're supposed to trust you to balance our 2020 budget when you can't even tell us what our 2018 budget was.
And it depends on how fast we can take care of whatever the deficit in general ends up to be.
And is this an audit by the state auditor, like Nicole Galloway's office, or is this an independent auditor? And
It
do
is
you
the-
have an accountant that has to report to that?
We use Evers and Company from Jeff City. We've used them for
Right.
20 some odd years. You probably recognize the name.
I do. Okay, thank you.